everybody, and welcome to another amazing video of DIY investing. In the last bull run, I made the majority of my money buying layer 1 blockchains that really hadn't had prior cycles. These were some of the best investments that you could have made in the last cycle because as the adoption took off, new altcoins were starting to build inside of these ecosystems, and we saw some of the most price appreciation taking place inside of the native chain token. For this cycle, I believe that layer 2s are going to be one of the biggest narratives that we can watch for, and right now our biggest ones are currently about to be breaking out and going into a new all-time high. As this happens, we're going to see an insane amount of money coming into the market. Lots of these early projects are going to blow up. So for today's video, I'm going to break it down, explain exactly how we can be positioned early and capitalize on this massive move coming very soon. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And with that being said, let's jump right into this amazing video today. Alrighty guys, so as we're getting into today's video, I figured the best thing we could do is actually look at a little bit of data, break down the differences between layer 1s and layer 2s, and then talk a little bit about what we're seeing as far as what cryptos in the top 10 based off of TVL are layer 1s versus what are actually layer 2s. The reason why I think we're going to see so much money coming into layer 2s is really because of the issues of Ethereum. If we look over here, ETH currently has over 50%, 54% almost, of the total value locked in the entire market. So already, ETH is this massive figure. It has the majority of the adoption. It has over half of all of the TVL in the crypto markets. So already, we understand the issues that plague Ethereum. And the reason why we've seen layer 1s blow up in prior cycles was because we knew that Ethereum was going to continue to have these issues. It has scalability issues, so you had these other layer 1s that came onto scene to ultimately fix some of the issues that plagued Ethereum and make their own layer 1. And, you know, if you have a good layer 1, you don't technically even need a layer 2. The only reason layer 2s exist is because Ethereum sucks. That's literally the only reason they exist. So I think that that's going to be such a big thing going into this next cycle because nothing has really changed with Ethereum. The gas fees are still insanely high. We are already seeing that, and the market hasn't even taken off very much. I know for a fact it's only going to get significantly worse to where the average person is not going to be able to participate in ETH in the same way that they weren't in the last cycle. It will only just be worse this time around. So if we're looking at the top 10 chains based off of the total value locked, this is all of the money locked on this chain or all of these chains. Ethereum is a layer 1, Tron is a layer 1, BSC is a layer 1, Arbitrum is the first layer 2 that we see in this entire market. And if we come over here and look at the TVL of Arbitrum is 3.5 billion, and it's really not that far away from being, you know, what Tron is at 8.26 or Binance Smart Chain at 5.2. It's only a little ways from actually flipping Binance. So when we're looking at this, I also think it's important that you're understanding the market cap perspective because Binance has a much higher market cap than Arbitrum does, right? And same thing with Tron and same thing with Ethereum. All of these have a much higher market cap, yet the TVL of Arbitrum really isn't that far behind. Now, if we come lower, Ton is a layer 1, Solana is a layer 1, Avalanche is a layer 1, Polygon and Optimism are both layer 2s. So inside of the top 10 chains, we only have 3 layer 2s. And when we're looking at the TVL of these chains, you know, specifically Optimism and specifically Arbitrum, they don't really have much higher market cap than the TVL. When we're comparing the other ones like Polygon, its TVL is only 1.1 billion, yet it's got a much higher market cap. I think that these other layer 2s like Optimism and Arbitrum are going to be the ones that outshine just because Polygon is just much more overvalued versus what it's actually creating in value. Now, the reason why these layer 2s are going to blow up is just because ETH still has so much market share and ETH has so many scalability issues. The only reason Optimism and Arbitrum and Polygon exist is to ultimately try and scale those issues in Ethereum. So I think that that is going to be a big narrative to watch in this next cycle. And as we've actually seen some of the layer 1s breaking out, so far this cycle has kind of been dominated by the layer 1s. We've seen a lot of these like Solana have these absolutely massive moves off of their capitulation. If we come all the way down here to the bottom, you know, you're looking at like a 15x just about inside of this first move. And I actually think that we're going to be going higher here. We could see one more low like this before we do, but I honestly think that we're going to be coming up here to about $143 before this is over. We've seen such a massive move in some of these layer 1s, which is to be expected. I think that layer 1s are going to continue to move first, considering the fact layer 2s are only needed to fix Ethereum. If Ethereum was ever to scale and fix itself, well, then layer 2s are just basically unneeded. So we have to remember that long term. I think that layer 2s are just something to play this cycle as a short-term narrative, not something so much where we want to focus on it long term even though I do think that they will continue to have cycles. I just think that the only reason they're here is because of the issues with Ethereum. So really the only thing that's going to happen is either a layer 1 takes over and gets a lot of market share and ends up being maybe more dominated than what we see with Ethereum, or Ethereum fixes its own issues and kind of dissolves the need for any of the layer 1s or layer 2s. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to have to watch and see. So far this cycle, we've seen the layer 1 narrative taking off first, and as it stands, some of the best performing altcoins have been layer 1s. Injective is another example of this, one that's had an absolutely monster move. It's the first one to really go into price discovery. I shouldn't say first one, but it's really the one that's taken the spotlight in the crypto market. And it's looking like we've got even more upside coming from here. I got a friend that's invested into this and has been since like $6 or something. So he's absolutely made a killing off of this. And what's hilarious is he got in a car accident and then he put all of the insurance money into this, and then it mooned like this. So shout out to him. He almost died, but now he's saved because of all this profit. And I don't think that it's going to end or change up by any means, even if we come over here and look at optimism. But anyways, guys, we're seeing all of these layer 1s taking off. And as it stands, if we come over here to take a look at the layer 2s, they're currently just retesting the prior all-time highs, and they're currently just flipping them as new all-time high support. So as it stands, Arbitrum just made this breakout, went into price discovery, currently consolidating right on top of those prior all-time highs, and they're both currently breaking out and retesting those prior all-time highs as new support. So if that's what's taking place, a move into price discovery comes next. And I've told you guys about both of these setups for a long time. And the reason I liked Optimism so much was because it's got basically the most bullish type of Elliott wave setup that you can get, which I'll pull it up right here so you guys actually know what I'm talking about. Now, inside of Elliott wave theory, what you're going to have, and what's one of the most bullish setups that I found, is what I call stacking one waves, where you basically have a wave 1 impulse and a wave 2 correction. That's right here. And then you have this subwave, wave 1 and wave 2, but it's actually just a subwave of a much bigger impulse taking place. And so this is one of the more bullish setups you can get because it's right before a parabolic move actually starts. And when we come over here and look at Optimism, that's exactly what it's doing. It's just a bigger version of what I just shared with you. We had a wave 1 right here and a wave 2. Now we're starting that much bigger impulse right here, right? We're looking at that chart. We're inside of this one now. But we've just completed this wave 1 and wave 2. It's only this subwave that we finished. So when we're looking at this, this is a subwave wave 1, this is a subwave 2, and we're still working on wave 3, and then we'll have wave 5 of 3, and then that's only going to be the top of wave 3. We'll have a 4-wave correction of some kind before we still start an even bigger impulse after that. So these are the type that can just go so parabolic super quick, considering it is the beginning of a wave 3. And that's why I don't really try and predict price as much with these. These are long-term holds. I don't give a crap about what the short-term price is going to be doing unless I'm actually trying to short-term trade it, like day trading it with leverage. As of now, I just see this as the prime opportunity to be holding before we see a price discovery. And the same thing's happening with Arbitrum. The two differences is maybe Arbitrum's leading in the short term, and up to this point it's kind of been Optimism leading in a lot of respects. It's kind of outperformed, but the way that the data lines up, Arbitrum just has so much more TVL, and it's obviously being the one that's much more adopted than anything else in the market. When we're comparing the TVL of Polygon versus the TVL of Arbitrum, and then the market cap of Polygon versus the market cap of Arbitrum, it's a significant difference, right? The Polygon TVL is so minimal versus how overvalued the token price actually is, versus these layer 2s are actually being used more than it, and they're much more undervalued. And so I think my top pick is obviously Arbitrum. I've told you guys a lot about different altcoins that I've been buying, and I kind of figured that for tomorrow's update, I was going to break down some of those altcoins, ones I'm watching as we're seeing Arbitrum about to send it in price discovery. Same thing with Optimism. I kind of wanted to break down a video going over some of those ecosystem altcoins that I'm personally invested in, ones that I think are going to end up doing the best when Arbitrum goes into price discovery, because it's really not so much that you want to buy the token of Arbitrum or the token of Optimism, even though I do think they're going to send it and do well. It's that they don't really do a lot as a token in themselves. They're just a governance token, right? Now, by holding it, it gets you different sort of perks inside the ecosystem, but mainly it's just a governance token, and that's it. So you can mainly just vote on different measures inside the blockchain. So that's why there's not so much value in just holding the tokens of these, but I think that the real value comes in doing research into which Arbitrum altcoins, which altcoins built on Arbitrum are going to be the best ones, or which altcoins that are built on Optimism are are going to be the best ones. I've already been talking about some of these for a while. I've made a lot of videos, but tomorrow I'm going to get into a little bit deeper, dive into some of that, give you guys a bunch of different ones that I'm actually looking at currently. But anyways, guys, this is the video I had for you. I wanted to break things down, look at the chains, look at the data and how it's really showing why layer 2s are so undervalued right now, why they're seeing so much adoption, and why I think that they're going to continue to see adoption over the course of this cycle. Optimism and Arbitrum are the two most undervalued, and I really have a focal point on Arbitrum going into this next cycle. So if you guys do want to actually see how I'm investing into these markets, tomorrow I'll make an update on some of the altcoins I'm holding. But if you guys want to actually see when I'm talking about these before I ever talk about them on YouTube, you got to join my Discord server, because that's where I post everything. We've been accumulating Arbitrum related altcoins since all the way back in 2022. We qualified for that airdrop early on. We were doing all of the things we needed to get that, and now the Arbitrum airdrop is worth a significant amount of money. So it's like, aside from Arbitrum, all of the tokens we've been accumulating them for basically a year plus at this point. So if you guys do want to end up seeing how I'm positioning myself, which coins I'm actually buying over the cycle, you guys need to check out the Discord server. The way you sign up for that is on my website, linked below in the description of this video. So check it out. With that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Lots of profit coming, guys. I do think that we're about to see a lot of upside very soon. A lot of altcoins look very bullish, and it's looking like we're probably going to see the next sort of version of alt season going into this next cycle. So I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to break down some of these charts and share with you guys my favorite altcoins. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, because I'll have a lot of good picks to be choosing from. Thank you guys so much. With that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace out.